the northern parts of the US. I'm not sure what's going on in other parts, but anyways, my son and I may spend some time at the archery shop taking care of some things. As I said before, I've been out in the oil fields for a few years, so I hadn't been back home doing much hunting. And so we had to spend some time at the archery shop going over some of my stuff, but it's been kind of fun because when I got home, went to my folks' place and came across some bows that I haven't seen in a while, and I just wanted to share them. Like, holy cow, I cannot believe I still have these around. So what I wanted to do is introduce the first bow that I ever had. I was probably 17 or 18. I know I harvested my first deer with this bow when I was 18 years old. This bow here is a bear bow. It's a whitetail hunter, it was called, and Bear Archery made this compound bow in the 1970s. So this bow is darn near as old as I am, because I was made in the 1970s as well. But yeah, it's pretty unique. It was made by the company Fred Bear. It was one of their first compound bow models. Fred Bear originally started business, I believe, in 1933 with, I think it was Bear Products, and they did silk screening and advertising for the automotive industry. In 1938, they hired, I can't remember the gentleman's name, but they hired a guy, Woodcrafter and Boyer, and they started making bows at that time. And I don't know for sure when they started the actual introduction of the compound bow. If the whitetail hunter was the first compound bow that they produced, I do not know. But one kind of unique story about this, so this, like I said, I was like 17, 18, 19 years old, and I was shooting this bow maybe into my early 20s. So anyways, kind of a very cool old bow that was made in the 1970s, and I harvested a handful of deer with this in my youth. So next I'm going to show you the second bow that I've owned. I've only owned 3 bows in my entire life. This one being the first one. Like I said, I picked this up, I don't know. I know I harvested deer. My very first deer I ever harvested with archery, I was 18 years old. So I had this bow prior to that, so I probably had it when I was 17 years old or something like that. But this bow is when I harvested my very first deer with archery equipment. Not the very first deer I ever harvested, but the very first deer I harvested with archery equipment. And then this bow started my love for archery shooting and archery hunting. All right, I'll bring it back in a second. All right, guys, so the next bow I got that I'm going to show you, it's a PSE. I believe I got this bow, or it's a 1996 model. It was called the PSE Baby G Forest Bow. This bow I had for many years. I shot lead with it for many years. This bow has harvested many deer. Now, one of the cool things about this bow compared to the Bear bow is bows started getting a lot shorter. So weight-wise, this is about the same as that old Bear bow, but it has a lot more these cams here. This thing at the time had, which isn't much in today's standard, but it had about 20% let off. So I kind, you do the math. If it was 60 pounds dry, it's probably still holding 40 pounds when I was pulled all the way back. So this bow, I just recently have gotten it restrung. You know, it was sitting in the garage for many years, and the string was completely wore out. It was frayed in really, really bad shape. So I got this bow restrung, and I actually flung a few arrows from it today. And as you can see, there's no sights on it right now. I stripped everything down when I bought the last bow I bought. But I am gonna actually bring this thing back to life. I'm gonna pick up some sights, and probably gonna do, well, I know I'm gonna be shooting league this year again, and I haven't shot league in, like, I would say 13 years, 12 to 13 years. And I'm gonna bring this bow out of retirement, and just for fun. You know, I'm not at this point in my life with the heart condition and whatnot. I'm not too concerned if I'm #1 shooter, and I'm not super competitive anymore. I just want to go for fun, and it's going to be very nostalgic taking this, taking the PSE Baby G-Force to league and do some shooting with it. So yeah, one of the things, and I'll show you a couple things a little bit later, but you're going to notice, I'll bring this in a little bit closer here. The arrow rest, it already has rubber on it, but I put felt over top of it. So when I was drawing and releasing out in the wood, harvesting deer, it would help make it quieter. You can see all the different felt I got in here. Just little things to do to make the bow a little quieter out in the woods. But yeah, so that is the Baby G-Force PSE. Like I said, I believe this one was a 1996 model. So pretty cool when you consider, what is it, 2023 now, so it's going to be up there in age as well. And I am super, super excited. Yeah, this thing has had, I would say, probably thousands of arrows through it, between league and archery hunting. Yeah, and got brand new restringed. Actually, just picked it up from the archery shop today. And I was shooting it again today. I haven't shot this thing, let's see here. Well, I bought the last one I'm going to show you, I bought 17 years ago. So the last time I had a shot this would have been 17 years ago. And I was tossing some arrows out of it today. So let's go ahead and take a look at my last bow that I purchased. And like I said, that bow I purchased 17 years ago already. This is the last bow that I purchased, you know, and this thing has harvested a lot of deer as well. This bow was the replacement for my PSE Baby G, and this is the Hoyt Tricon. And when this bow came out, it was pretty much the top of the line at the time. By today's standards, it's an animal. This thing is really heavy compared to today's bows. So, but it's really, really fun. On this bow now, like I said, with the PSE Baby G-Force from 1976, it only had 20% let off. So when you would pull it all the way back, if you had 60 pounds, you're only holding about 40 pounds. This bow has about 80% let off. So if you're pulling back 60 pounds, you're holding what, maybe 12 to 15 pounds, somewhere in there. So a considerable difference when you're holding it back. When you're shooting league and whatnot, you're throwing 30 arrows through your bow a night. That holding the poundage over and over and over for 30 rounds gets a little tiring. So this bow was a blessing. And the way I ended up getting the Tricon was one of the guys I was shooting league with, I was shooting my PSE, and that old PSE has some recoil. I have a bad shoulder. So my shoulder would get really sore after 30 rounds and that recoil on that old bow. So one of the guys in league, I said, hey John, you need to try this bow. And he owned this bow. So I was like, no, I cannot do it. My freaking shoulder is killing me. I am not going to shoot the bow. And after a little while, he convinced me. 10 arrows later, he's like, I'd like to have my bow back. So the next day, I went to the archery shop and ordered this bow. So the Hoyt Tricon, you know, you can see some cool features about it. All these openings, and that was designed to make it lighter, although this thing is a heavy bow compared to today's bows. The other thing that this bow has, instead of having more rounded limbs, it's more of a flat limb, and today's bows are really flat. So this is old technology compared to today's bows. But at the time, this was very, very high-tech bow. And it had some downfalls. With the white Tricon, this was a draw-specific bow. A lot of bows, you can change the draw by adjusting the cams, making adjustments here. With the white Tricon, it was draw-specific. So whatever my draw length is, if I was a sellless, the person that would buy this would have to have the exact same draw length. Otherwise, they'd have to get completely different cams, completely rebuild this bow for their draw length. So that is one of the drawbacks of this bow. But this thing was a lifesaver on my shoulder for league shooting, and it did me very, very well, not just at the range, but out in the woods. This thing was just awesome up in a tree stand. So very well balanced, very easy to handle. Like I said, it had 80% let off, so when you get it back there, you're only holding a few pounds. So if you gotta hang in there for a minute, it's not a problem. So yeah, and this bow, this is still 17 years old. I bought this bow in 2007. So that's how old this bow is. And it's 2023 right now. So I believe, if my math is correct, that's 17 years. So yeah, I just wanted to give a quick walkthrough of my bows and show you guys what I've done, the different bows that I've owned in my lifetime. I'm sure this is not the end of them. And one more little quick story. So my son recently was given an old bow, and we also brought that in to the archery shop, and they restringed that and whatnot. It is an American, I can't remember what model it is, an American bow, and I believe it's a 1960s model. And he is going to shoot that bow with aluminum arrows for league this year. That's going to be a lot of fun, seeing how he does, and just going to be fun shooting these old bows. And I'm not going to be shooting that whitetail hunter. I don't trust them limbs at this point, the old bear bow. But I am going to take my PSE and do a few rounds with that during bow league as well. So, and that's the whole thing, guys. It doesn't matter what the equipment is. I know you can go to a shop or whatever, and they've got brand new bows, and there's lots of guys shooting all this brand new stuff that's super beautiful, super fast, but it also comes with a price tag. And to go and have fun, go throw some arrows, join a league, and just learn the hobby, learn the sport. Don't be ashamed to pick up an old bow, bring it to archery shop, and see if it's still good. Like I said, my son got the bow, that American bow. He got that from free. One of his buddies like, hey, you want this? So he took it, we brought it to our tree shop, and they're like, yeah, this thing's in great shape. Well, let's restring it. So we got it restrung, got some aluminum arrows for it, started throwing arrows through it. He's like, I'm going to use this in league this year. So you don't have to have all brand new top line equipment. You just have to have something to get out there and learn and have fun. So anyways, guys, it's been great to bring you along to take a look at my archery equipment that I've owned over the years. Remember, like and subscribe. It really helps the channel.